Welcome to Fuquay-Varina Weddings. It's a podcast show that provides information and resources for couples about local wedding vendors and venues in the Fuquay-Varina and the surrounding areas. My name is Chris Zirkle, and today we're at Highgrove Estate in Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina. You can find them at highgrove-nc.com. And I'll allow Highgrove to introduce themselves.
Yeah, thanks for having us. My name is Kristen. I'm the Director of Operations, Marketing, Catering here at Highgrove. I also do some bridal coordinating, sometimes some bartending.
Yeah, and again, Chris, thank you so much for asking us to be in the podcast. My name is Chandler Martin, and I'm the Director of Sales here, as well as Highgrove's a family, so if you have a title here at all, you're very hands-on involved with a lot of things, like Kristen said, from staff management to coordinating, bartending, everything. So, yeah.
You got to wear multiple hats.
Yes,
For sure.
exactly.
Do it all.
Yeah.
So your website tagline says a full-service estate where every detail is covered and your wedding planning made simple. And I've filmed multiple weddings here, and so I can attest that is true. I mean, I've seen it firsthand, how smooth everything goes. And in this episode, we want to discuss the history and backstory of the estate, who you are now, and the experience, the menu, the ceremony, all the events, the rentals, and how to get started with Highgrove. So what is the history or backstory of the estate?
Yeah, absolutely. So Highgrove opened up almost 20 years ago at this point now. So it originally started as a home that a dentist built for his daughter back in the 1900s. There used to be a pool out back. The ballroom area was not there, so we completely renovated it. It is chef owned, and so it is restaurant operated as well. And
Yeah, so I think it's pretty cool because a lot of the times I'm the first touch with clients as they're coming in. And so everyone wants to know the history of the house, and they're like, hey, is this a historical landmark, whatever. And as Kristen said, it was built in the 1900s by a dentist for his daughter. And I like to say it ended up being a wedding gift for her, and then now it's a wedding venue. So the things are kind of closely intertwined, and it's kind of a cool story.
Yeah, you really have to see it to really appreciate it. And this is a podcast. We're in audio format, so it's hard to envision. But I know that for me, it's convenient to film here because the bride and groom have a spacious place, and a well-decorated place to get ready. The rooms are nice to film in, and there's other locations for them to get ready in different areas.
Correct.
For their hair and makeup, and of course the spots around to shoot the greenery, the water, of course the backdrop, everything. So definitely seeing it is something you'd want to do. Going online, looking at the photos is a good place to start.
Yeah.
Or looking at some videos that have footage of it. So your website has information about the experience. How does Highgrove help couples plan for their wedding, and what is the process?
Yeah, great question. And so Highgrove Estate is a full-service venue, as we've said already. And so what that means is that we really strive to make your wedding planning simple. And so we know that the wedding industry is just so overrun with stress and to-dos, and that's what we want to eliminate. We want to make sure that the bride and groom can really focus on their love story from beginning to end without all of that hassle. And so we really hold your hand from beginning to the ending whenever you walk out in your sparkler exit or whatever exit you choose to do. And because of that, we are unique in that we provide pretty much everything that you need. And so we have our bridal coordinator who will be your personal kind of mini wedding planner. And so she'll create your timeline, your ballroom layout. She'll contact all of your vendors, along with the rest of our team really being there for you for whatever questions you have, as in if you're on track or planning your menu, anything like that. And then with your rentals, everything is on site as well. And so you don't need to worry about those checklist items of where you're bringing anything in from. Everything is really just a one-stop shop here.
Yeah, and I want to add a little bit to that and kind of say a lot of times I'll sit at this very table with couples when they're coming in, touring, seeing the venue, and they want to know about, like, what does the coordinator do? What do we really offer? And couples are nervous. Like, this can be a really stressful time. They're trying to, figure out where we're going to get married, pick a date, things like that. And I tell them, like, once you have a date with Highgrove, you can sit back, relax, When we say we want wedding planning to be like stressless, easy for you, for your families. We don't want family members to have to recruit, cousins, aunt and uncles to come help set up. We really want you guys to be able to make the decisions that you need to make. We'll hold your hand on what those decisions might be, whether they're picking out linens or a menu. Then we want you to show up for the day of your wedding and just be able to relax and know that Highgrove is going to take care of it. And that kind of goes in part with saying the staff here wears a lot of hats. We all do a lot of jobs here, and we all work together to make it as an enjoyable experience for our couple as possible. And we want to add to their story. So, yeah.
Yeah, whenever we say about, that we care about the experience, we truly mean it. We keep saying that we don't want you to be stressed, but we also take a very personal approach to really knowing who our couples are, so that by the end, when it finally gets to your wedding day, after months and months of planning together, they really feel like family, and they leave here and they just take a deep breath and can just focus on not only their wedding day, but also their marriage.
Yeah, I think having everything in-house is evident from my perspective, shooting here, just seeing how smooth everything goes throughout the whole day. And it's almost like you're lurking around a corner, like you're out of sight to give everybody their privacy, but if someone needs you, you just magically appear.
Exactly. And if something goes wrong on your wedding day, honestly, you won't know it, because we're behind the scenes. We've already come up with plan A through Z ahead of time, so that we might know if, your DJ doesn't show up on time or your photographer is off schedule, but you won't know that because we've already taken care of it. We've already contacted them for you. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've filmed here a few times that there's been a little bit of rain, but I've never had it to where it's been indoors. I've always filmed outside. So as far as ceremony options, like how many locations or options are there for a ceremony?
I was going to say, like this weekend, even with the hurricane, yesterday's wedding was still outside. Saturday's was still outside. On Friday, we did have to move the ceremony inside because of the hurricane. But most of the time, with North Carolina's weather, we're able to have ceremonies outside, which is really cool.
Yeah, and something that makes us unique, too, is that we allow our couples to choose up to 30 minutes where they would like their ceremony to be held. And so if it's just sprinkling outside, like Chandler mentioned, North Carolina weather is very unpredictable, and so a lot of times it is just that passing shower. And so if we need to push back your ceremony 20 minutes, we can do that. If we tent the ceremony, you have that option if you're watching the weather, a week before, and opt to rent a clear top tent. Those have been very beautiful down at the pergola as well. But if it is something like this past weekend with something like the hurricane, we can move it indoors in the ballroom as well. We'll still set up all of your chairs. We can push the tables out of the way and still create that beautiful aisle for you too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice that option exists too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the cocktail hour is important for the photographer and the videographer, because that is entertaining and giving the family members, the guests, something to drink, something to eat, and even sometimes entertainment while we're getting the shots we need, which sometimes takes time. And if wedding guests aren't entertained or don't have something to eat or drink, they could be kind of anticipating the bride and groom to return sooner.
Right.
So talk a little bit about the environment, because it's spread out. It's all over the place.
I was going to say, first off, Highgrove is really cool in the sense of there's a lot of different intimate places where you can sit. So our cocktail hour usually takes place we have 2 patios, and the one side patio has lots of furniture, wicker furniture, a fireplace, different tables, and it's covered, and it's a lovely setting if you want to take pictures or just chat with someone, as well as then you actually have the actual bar with cocktail tables, and there's furniture, and there's just a lot that adds to the ambiance of being able to really set up an area for guests to be able to mingle, to talk, to converse, and not just be standing around being like, hey, when do we get to the main course? Like, what are we doing right here? Instead, they have something to do.
Right, and right after the ceremony, too, the officiant will be directed to invite all of the guests up to cocktail hour, as Chandler mentioned, and so they'll head straight to the bar, where we do have a fully equipped bar with our bartenders who are certified as well, and so you can do any type of range of bar depending on your preferences, and then our servers also provide butler passed hors d'oeuvres to your guests as they're waiting. And something that we love to do as well is welcome the bridal party party into the house. We'll shut that door so that your guests aren't coming in right away for a receiving line, and just taking you into a separate room, providing you with drinks and hors d'oeuvres to celebrate and take a moment to breathe and just celebrate that you got married.
Yeah, it's a really intimate setting when they come into the parlor. Sometimes as a coordinator, I'm like one of the first ones to congratulate them, and then they have their family and friends right in that room together. And sometimes there's tears, there's laughter, there's just celebration, and it's a really cool touch.
Yeah, it's really special.
Yeah, it's a shot I try to capture. I follow the wedding party in, tail end of it, and try to capture some of that embracing and so forth. Did you have something you wanted to add?
One other thing about when it comes to serving our drinks and our hors d'oeuvres is glassware. We actually have like stemware and glassware that we're serving from the bar. For me personally, that's a big deal. It's way different than drinking a cocktail or a beer out of a plastic cup or a glass of wine out of a plastic cup. So that is a big, it's a nice touch.
Yeah. And I've been filming a number of years, and I remember when you did the overhaul, the remodeling of the banquet hall, and it's been ballroom, right? And it's added such a significant settings and convenience. And I love when the ceremony and reception are at the same venue, where you don't have to travel to somewhere else. So what are some other benefits of having a one venue that has both the ceremony and reception? And what are some of the options of combinations of things you can do with that?
Yeah, so like you said, I mean, first and foremost, it really is convenience. And so your guests don't need to pick up after your 20-minute ceremony and head out into traffic and fight traffic to get to a separate building for your reception, worrying about time or anything like that, because everything is just here. It makes the day feel very relaxed and just very whole. Especially as a couple, you only get so much time on your wedding day, and so we really take out that factor of the stress of going to a separate venue or figuring out transportation or anything like that. And because we are on 7 acres of property, it does feel big enough where you can explore the area, you can come into the house, you can go down to the lake, you can go into the side patio, really anywhere you'd like.
That's one thing guests love in the sense too. This is a little off topic, but they get the whole estate feel in the sense that we welcome guests through the front porch and into the home. A lot of times when you go to a wedding venue, it might be, like one of my friends got married at a wedding venue. It's like a castle, and you got to see it and then walk around it. But instead, we want guests to have an entire estate experience, which is really cool.
Yeah, when you pull up, some of my favorite spots, the swing. If you actually look at the website, Fuquay-Varina Weddings, that's the photo on the main website. The couple sitting in the bench. There's a swing there, and then of course one of my other favorite places is the hill that kind of rolls down towards the water, and getting a slow motion shot of the bride and groom or wedding party going up and down that hill.
Yes,
it really makes nice.
Beautiful.
And my last one is a close up of the bride and groom during the ceremony and the backdrop behind them.
The backdrop's amazing. Everyone who comes here, like, you have to come see the venue to really understand like the magnificence of that backdrop. Everyone on tours will be like, are we in the mountains? Like, are we actually like near Raleigh? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And everyone too is always like, the photos do not do it justice.
Right.
Which is crazy to me when we are in 2022 and everything, is social media marketing and pictures and editing, and our photos look pretty good. And then you come to the venue and people are like, wow, the photos are not doing this place justice at all. Yeah,
but it doesn't really feel like a secret escape because we are only about 20 minutes from Raleigh, but yet it feels like you said you can either be in the mountains, but you still have that classic estate feel as well. Yeah,
the road changes just before you get here. You can start seeing the elevation. And besides the venue and location-wise, food. I am fortunate because I've been able to eat every time I've filmed here.
Oh, we take care of our vendors.
And I can tell you the food is awesome. So talk about the food.
Yeah, so from a completely unbiased perspective, the food here is the best wedding food that I've ever eaten.
Oh, for sure.
A lot of times wedding food is very mediocre at best. Something that is very different, and I know we mentioned this previously, but we are chef owned, and so that means that there is great detail and care taken into everything that's made. Another thing that makes us different is that our kitchen is on site. You wouldn't know it by going outside. It's very well covered, but it is on site, which means that everything is made fresh day of. It comes out of the kitchen hot, and it's just walked just a couple feet into the ballroom, placed right on the guest tables. So we're not like other catering companies where you're bringing it in warmers, and maybe it's made the day or two before, it's gotten dry and stale. Everything is made very fresh. Our menu is also very fun in the sense that we really curate it around your personality. And so our menu is very extensive, but if you still see something that you thought, oh, I've always wanted this at my wedding, we can make it too. So
we can make anything happen. We've had weddings here that are like 100% vegan, gluten-free. We've had weddings that are geared towards, we had an Indian couple who wanted everything to be traditional Indian food. Of course, there's a price tag attached to that, but we can, since we're a commercial size kitchen and chef owned, we can make anything happen.
Yeah. And the things that are fun too, you know, how we mentioned, we really want to make it about you and your love story and just everything reflecting that. So if you are the couple that loves beef tenderloin, great, we can do that. But also if you want a taco bar and a pizza station and a French fry station, we'll do that too.
Yeah. We have fun with food.
Yes. And so with your experience at Highgrove Estate, so we don't do separate line items, which is very important to note because many places will charge you separately for utensils and plates and everything like that. We don't do that. We wrap it all up in the venue fee. And so what we include with that are your guest tables, your linens, your flatware, your china, your glassware, like we mentioned earlier, cocktail tables, really everything that you need. Your chairs are included and everything's on site too. So you don't need all of that extra worry about when things are getting delivered. You will still go pick out your linens. We work with curated events in Raleigh, and so you'll go pick out your linens and your colors and everything like that, but we coordinate with them for you so that we have them perfectly placed and set up behind the scenes.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Now, what have I missed? What would you like brides and grooms looking for a wedding venue to know about Highgrove?
One thing I tell a lot of couples is Highgrove kind of sells itself, and we're just excited to be a part of your journey and story, whether you book with us or not. If we do, we consider it a huge honor to be able to host your wedding. And what that looks like from our venue, a lot of times when you go to a venue, you kind of locked in or boxed into their version or their vision of a wedding. But instead, Highgrove wants to cater weddings and dictate weddings towards a couple's goal and what is their vision for a wedding. We want to accommodate their needs and their ideas, not just how we want a wedding to look.
Yeah. And to add on to that too, I would say honestly, after weddings are over, the staff, especially the coordinators, kind of get sad because we know, especially when it's a destination wedding, that we might not see you again. And after we've worked with you for months and really held your hand through the process and just build up that friendship and that family relationship, it's just sad. You know, you help them with the biggest day of their life. It is sometimes fun when you have local Raleigh couples. I've run into a couple of mine here and there in Raleigh. So that's always fun to see them again. But yeah, just that we're so much more than a venue, that we really do care about who you are and who what your story is.
Well, let's go ahead and conclude with a sparkler exit. I think all the weddings seem to end with a sparkler exit. I filmed that coming out and then getting in the car and then pulling off and the lights blur, and that's how most of my videos end. So how about the sparkler exit experience?
Makes for great photos. Sometimes it's a little bit scary having, 100, 150 people out there with some fire so close to the house. But we are trained professionals and we have gotten that speech down of how to instruct the guest for your sparklers, which is really something to note, is that we will take care of that too. You're not in charge of figuring out how to corral all of your guests to do that. We'll do that for you, but the photos and videos do turn out awesome.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate you letting me come here today and to record this. Would this be a vodcast?
I guess so.
Yeah. We're filming it too.
Yeah.
So you can either watch this video or listen to it. But I appreciate it again. Check out their website.
Yeah. Thanks again for having us.
Thank you for having us, Chris.
Thank you.